Greetings, Mythics. How are we all? Hopefully you're doing well. Yes, it is another Edra Scrolls Ramblings of a Storyteller. My name is Ken Boyter, said Storyteller. This is Edra Tales. This is Loquacious from the Bottled Imp YouTube channel. I don't really talk about the Bottled Imp too much these days because, hello Martha, still sick. Oh, sorry to hear that, Martha. Big hugs, big hugs. Yeah, I don't often necessarily talk about the Bottled Imp anymore, but if you do want to go and see some fantasy reviews, it is a fantasy review show primarily. We reviewed fantasy books, films and board games, and we've got over 450 episodes. There's other stuff up there as well, but primarily our main show was the fantasy review show. The Friday what was it called? The Fancy Friday show. Oh, that brings back memories. And it was a channel that I started and co-ran with Julian. Hello, Sally. Hello. First day of Models Con. Fantastic. So many second-hand Transformers. So little backpack space. Sorry to hear that, Martha. Yes. I did get your text just now, Sally, so that's fine. Yes, first day of Models Con, that sounds fantastic. Is that like Airfix models or just any models whatsoever? I guess Transformers comes under that as well, doesn't it? So yeah, so if you wanted to check out the Bottled Imp, it's a YouTube channel and we started it, about 2015, something like that. And we ran it for about 5 years. No, 4 years maybe. And there's over 450 episodes. And it was a shame, really, that we stopped, but, you know, it was a lot of time to do, and both of our lives changed time-wise, hence why we couldn't do it any longer. And that's kind of why I started doing this, because I like doing broadcasts. I like making videos, but also it's a very interesting concept, because I thought, actually, hang on, I'm putting a lot of effort, a lot of time and effort into the Bottled Imp YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm not actually doing my creative projects. So I got a bit sidetracked with the YouTube channel. So in a way, stopping was a bit of a blessing in disguise in that respect. Tomorrow, there will be a lady who makes replica leather spell books. Fantastic. I have seen at UK Games and maybe other conventions as well, that kind of thing where they make these beautiful kind of books, which is brilliant. Yeah, I'd be interested in one of those, definitely. Yeah, brilliant. So, yes, check it out, the Bottled Imp. That's for people that don't know about the Bottled Imp. We also have Edra Tales YouTube channel, and there's nothing particular. Occasionally I put different videos from the live streams, but really it's just a way to put the live streams up onto YouTube, because some people don't really watch Twitch, but they might, like to watch YouTube. YouTube's, more popular. Most people have heard of YouTube, whereas not everybody necessarily has heard of Twitch. However, I used to do the live streams on Facebook. So I used to do these on Facebook, but Facebook just ruined their live streaming service. They didn't make it good. It was glitchy. They kept hiding it. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We come in awful hand. It will come in awfully handy for future RPG conventions when playing a fighting fantasy sorcery hero. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you whip out your custom-made spell book. Thank you very much. No one's going to mess with you. No one's going to mess with you. So, you all right, Loquacious? Yeah, he's still awake. I have literally just woken up, as you can probably tell. I had a very rare Friday murder mystery. I perform in murder mysteries, most of you know that. And normally they're on Saturdays, and if it's a full weekend one, it's Saturday and Sunday. However, because the company is very, very booked out, a lot of people have bought these Virgin Experience tickets. And so the company went, right, we're swamped. We need to put on extra gigs, but we're thinking of doing it on Fridays. Hence why it's a Friday. So I was up quite late. I didn't get back till about 1:30 last night from Stratford-upon-Avon, which is the birthplace and the home of Shakespeare. Coughing so much that I lose my breath. Oh, that's not good. Well, yeah, try to take a deep breaths, I guess. That's not very good. So yeah, so I kind of thought, oh yeah, I'll get up early and I'll do things. No. Literally got up 20 minutes ago. Because I can't let you guys down. I can't let you guys down. Pat Smarth on back. Yeah, absolutely. Big hugs. So, just to remind you then of my Some Magic. It's my novel. If you do wish to purchase a copy, go to my website, edratales.com, and you can purchase it through the website. And somebody already did that on Wednesday. It was Jam. Jam got he bought his online. I sent it out the next day. He should have it either today or on Monday. And hopefully he'll enjoy it. So any copies that you order through the website, it's signed. I do sign them. And there are only 40 of these. I've sold about 8 or 9. So, you know, once they're gone, really, the hardbacks. I may do a second printing, but there's no guarantee of that. I will be putting it out on paperback on Amazon, but I'm a little bit dubious of Amazon because I don't know the print quality. That's my frustration with Amazon. It's a sort of place to be because everybody knows it, but what's the print quality like? So I do need to do a bit of experimenting when I get some time. Probably in the summer it will come out in paperback. So there we go. So that's Of Magic and Monkeys. Fantastic little adventure book, all about magic and all about monkeys. Iron flying monkeys, apart from Kin, the ink pot monkey. So there we go. So that's that one. Thanks. The summer cold is kicking my butt. Yeah, it's an odd concept, isn't it, having a cold in the summer? But obviously it does happen. The other thing that we've got going on at the moment is the Crooked Crown. The Crooked Crown game. It's a game of deduction, basically. Deduction, bluff, saboteur. It's 3 to 6 players, co-designed by Kedrick Winks. And we launched this at the UK Games Expo. It did really well. Demoed loads of times. Lots and lots of people enjoyed it. We sold 60 copies over the 3 days, which is fantastic. And Kedrick went over with the publishers, Outset and Cheatwell. He went out to Origins, which is the big, one in America, games convention in America, and they demoed it there. Apparently it sold very well in Origins as well, so that's great news. So again, if you do want to buy this copy, you can go to edratales.com, but I have links to where you can buy it. It is now available on Amazon, so if you have Amazon Prime and you want free shipping, you can go through Amazon and buy it from Amazon. If you do that, actually that's probably a good thing to do, because you could buy it from the manufacturer, but I think you have to pay the shipping on top of the £15. It's only £15, or I think it's $15. It might be $18. You can get, if you've got Prime in the UK, if you have Prime, it's free shipping. I don't know what it's like for the rest of the world. It's probably the same. So, so that's probably good. And also what I was going to say is you can leave a review, which is always brilliant to do because it helps with the algorithm. It helps put it up the charts, and then it obviously helps us sell more copies, which is always a good thing. COVID is also making a bit of a resurgence over here. Right. Test for COVID negative both times. There you go. That is good. That is fantastic news. So there you go. So if you haven't got your Crooked Crown copy, you can get it from Amazon now. Get it from Amazon. Fantastic. It's all lovely. I'm just going to have a little sip of tea. Is anybody drinking tea this morning? And I always put a little splash of honey. Can you splash honey? I guess you can. Oh, thank you, Sally. Sally wrote a review last night. It's being checked. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to go over to Board Game Geek, and leave a review over there, because Board Game Geek is pretty much the place to go for board games in terms of a database. If you want to know about any game, you go to Board Game Geek, type in the title of the board game, and it should be there. It started out years ago, probably 20 years ago, and it's just the default place. So the Crooked Crown is actually on there. I've uploaded images. I've uploaded a video of me, saying, yeah, we're going to launch at UK Games. I will be doing a how to play video as well as soon as I get time to put that up there. And so, yeah, leaving a review on Board Game Geek is also fantastic as well. That would really help us as well. And you can rate the game just like you can on Amazon. So at the moment, I think it's on 7 out of 10. I can't remember now, but yeah, something like 7 out of 10. So I'm trying not to go down the route of looking at reviews and stuff like that. But it'd be great if anybody could do a YouTube review of it as well. I gave a list to Paul, the publisher, saying, can you send out review copies to these YouTubers? Hopefully he will. And then hopefully we can get some reviews going and get a bit of a buzz within the board game community. Talking of board games, I have found this YouTube channel called Adam in Wales. So if anybody is thinking about designing board games, you're not quite sure, or you think, oh, that'd be a nice thing to do, but I don't know how to do it, then Adam in Wales has got a really good YouTube channel. He's been going about 10 years apparently. I've just stumbled across him. Well, I was actually looking for YouTubers to review, and his one came up. He doesn't necessarily do game reviews. I think he started to do that, but he then started to change his channel into about how to design games. So he's sort of charting his progress in designing, board and card games. So he's had 8 games published now, and he wrote a little book called Adam in Wales, Board Game Design Journal. And so I thought, yeah, let's do this. Now, it's not a journal that actually... I'm just messing about with the sound, actually. I've got Skyrim on in the background. Again, obviously. Now, it's a journal about you as a designer, not about specifically designing a game. It says, award-winning board game designer Adam Porter provides you with a multitude of reflective tools to help you develop as a tabletop game designer. This is not a playtesting journal. That is to say, the journal is not focused on one specific game or project. It's focused on you. You are the project. So I've only just got it, so I've only had a quick glance through. He does also very kindly, and it's good advertisement as well, but he goes through in a couple of his videos, like the first couple of pages, and just kind of goes through exactly what it is and actually feels it in himself. So, it's quite useful. And it does ask, it does ask questions of you, things like my definition of success, my gaming preferences, the market, my people, my events, my design ethos. Then it's got the tools, the hook generator, dare model, I don't know what that is, ladder model, idea, execution matrix, player journey maps, player class matrix, playtest log, components log. So there's a lot going on in there that you may not have thought about. One of the things that he does stress is he's got a bit of a beef with when people say design what you know, design what you like to play. Design what you like to play. And he says, yeah, but this is him talking, I'm very niche. I kind of like quirky little games. And so if he was to do that, then he wouldn't necessarily sell it to a publisher because they're looking to sell many copies, aren't they? So he's saying don't necessarily design what you want to play. Also, he said you might not be capable of designing that game. So he likes playing worker placement games and sometimes quite complex games. And he says, my brain does not work like that. He designs light party games. So he may well have come up with the Crooked Crown because it's a sort of light complexity. And so he said, if I tried to design a big, heavy Euro worker placement game, he said he probably couldn't do it because his brain doesn't work like that. So that's a very good point, actually. You know, you might like playing worker games, but you might not be able to design them. You might be, obviously. You know, everybody's different. So that's a very good point. So he says, so he's got sort of, you know, he says you need to look at the market. He says, and you need to be empathetic. So it's like, okay, forget what I want to play and what I, you know, it's what do the players want to play? What does the market want? What do people enjoy playing? So I found that quite fascinating. What else has he got here? He's also got the type, the the market. My gaming preferences is quite good. It says there is a following list of adjectives describes the qualities of tabletop games. Underline 10 adjectives which most closely describe your current preferences in tabletop gaming. So he's got things like accessibility, addictive, intellectual, skillful, long, economic, elegant, and you're meant to underline 10 which you really resonate with. And it says, out of your 10 qualities, list 3 which are most important to you right now. So therefore, you take those and you can use those as a basis of your design. And then also, he talks about the market. Like I say, the market. My people, he says about, who are the people that you play games with? It says it could mean many different things. Friends, family members are happy to play test your game. They might be designers or video creators you're communicated with. So it's been this is really useful. There's also, that's it, player class matrix that I found useful because he mentioned this in one of his videos. I'm trying to think of my game book. There you go. Should I make 3 different characters that the reader play? They have different strengths and weaknesses. So that's a good idea, yeah. So Jonathan, with game books, Jonathan has done that. He's written game books where you can pick which one to play, which I think is quite, probably quite unique idea. It's a good idea. It does, it's the next stage, I guess, in game book evolvement. However, Martha, as I'm finding out, if it's your first game book that you've written, that might be too complex for you. It might not be. I'm just putting it out there as an idea. It might be too complex. I'm writing my first one, which you know about, Devilish Dilemmas, and the first one's called To Kill a Thief. And I contemplated writing that you could pick, one player out of 3. But I thought, well, that's sort of 3 game books. I've got 3 tracks to keep, 3 branching narrative stories to keep track of. So this will be your first, yeah. And I just thought, that's too much. That's too much for me. So I've decided, right, you're going to play a thief, and this story is about a thief and the thief's guild. And we'll do it from there. We'll just keep it simple because you want to make sure you can finish it. Because as you know, if you start projects, it's sometimes us creative people, we can go off on tangents and look, shiny new project, and you leave the project you're working on. So it might be a good idea just to focus that you play one, character, because it is easier than if you're trying to work out 3. That would be my advice. I might be completely wrong, but that would, I contemplated that and I shied away from that because I thought it's going to be too complicated for me. But by no means that doesn't mean that when you've written, for me, if I've written 3 or 4 standard game books, if you like, then I might consider, oh, actually, yeah, what if you could choose from 3 different characters? You know, how can I write that? Do you see what I mean? So it's best to kind of start off small and then work up to that. That would be my advice. The other thing is that you've got the mechanics of your game book as well. So I would also focus right before you start writing the game book. You need to nail down your mechanics of the game book. You know, are you going to have dice where you know, in combat, or are you going to do a different method? Are you going to have, you know, health, strength? Are you going to have core? So I've got core abilities, for example, but then each game book's going to have their own abilities as well, depending on what character you're playing. I've got fate in my one, where you can re-roll a die. I've got various other mechanics. So you want to nail down your mechanics before you start writing or plotting the flowchart, simply because you have to bake into the plot the actual mechanics. So the other thing that I've got going on is sleep encounters. So because I've got sleep encounters, I need to write into the story that you go to sleep. Yeah, so I will write in, you know, it's been a long day, and you know that you're not near an inn, so you need to camp down for the night. You know, you find a shady tree and settle down, and then there's a sleep encounter. So I need to build into the plot the fact that the character goes to sleep. Master already wrote those mechanics down. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, then you'll... So this is the thing. I think once you're happy with the mechanics, then yeah, write the actual entries. But I don't know. To me, writing 3 different characters seems very, you know, quite a challenge if it's your first game book. But you might think differently. So yeah, player class matrix. This is quite interesting. He's put here... let's have a look. That there's 4 types of player, broadly speaking. The player class matrix described you as a gamer may help you explain why certain games are enjoyable for you while others fall flat. So it says here, how much do you enjoy interaction between players in games? Because some people don't like it, some people like it. And it's got here, minimal interaction, accidental blocking, direct confrontation, attacking, lying, betrayal. So obviously the more you interact... Oh, no worries, Sally. Oh no, Lirin. Sorry, I thought that was Sally. No worries, Lirin. Jonathan's here as well. Hello, Jonathan. Good morning to you, sir. Yeah, we're just talking about mechanics of game books, and also Martha had a great question, which I think you've just answered. I haven't read your comment yet, about should she let the player pick which player, 3 players they could play. And my own personal advice was, if it's your first game book, that might be too complex. I shied away from that. But, Martha might be different. So, Jonathan has put here, the intention with the Arkham Horror Investigators game book is that you can play any of the books with any character. Now, that's interesting. There are 3 in the first book, and another 3 to download from a Conati Books website. The next book will have 3 different characters and more that are downloadable content. So there you go, Martha. So that takes that concept to the next level. So the standard game book is where you're playing one character and you're just choosing one set of paths, which is complicated enough as it is to write. Jonathan's got one where it's 3, but not only that, is you can then take any of those 3 into any of the other books. Which I guess, in a way, the mechanics are more... That's more to do with the mechanics, if I'm thinking that through. Yeah. But that's very clever. That's very clever. But remember, Jonathan is a massively, massively experienced game book writer. Massively. Leerin's put, I really hope Dad stops watching conservative news that stuffs his viewers full of terror and paranoia and make them think that the world is covered in a mesosphere of COVID-19. Yeah, absolutely, Leirin. I decided to stop watching the news and stop reading a newspaper when I was about 19. I just thought it's all depressing. Why would I want to depress myself? Let's play games. Who's for Talisman? So I might be avoiding real life, maybe. Jonathan Spur, if you're going to have 3 different characters, make sure all contribute something different, or there are different ways of completing the adventure with the different characters. That is a very good point. And Jonathan's also written, I have heard about one book where you can choose your character class at the start, and it makes absolutely no difference to the gameplay. Yeah, that is a very good point. You need to, if you're going to put something in, I'm just going to say what Jonathan's written. If you're going to put something in, it needs to count. It needs to be reflected in your, in the writing, doesn't it? In the choices that you make. So, for example, I've got alignment. I've got 5 alignments, like D&D, where you have, good, evil, neutral, or whatever it is. So I've got that. Now I need to reflect that. I need to have certain moments in the game book where it says, if you're, what have I put? If you're shady, because you start off shady. And to me, this was a bit of a late idea. So I started writing this sample without that mechanic in there. So I need to now retrospectively put that in to make it worthwhile. Where is it? Because I quite like what I've done. Quite proud of it. There you go. So there's 5 alignments: true, honest, neutral, shady, and corrupt. So in the game book, it's like Talisman. With Talisman, it says, you pick up an item, it says Holy Lance. No evil player can hold the Holy Lance. Or there'll be objects where it says, no, only neutral players can hold this object. Yeah, or, the evil dagger. Only evil people can have this. Do you see what I mean? So you need to so it needs to reflect in there, like Jonathan said. So I need to put in, because I've only written 30 entries, this sample, but even so, I want to feed them into those early entries, because I want people to get used to the idea of alignment. So there might be, it could be that you encounter somebody, and depending on your alignment is going to depend on how much they help you, or how much information they're going to reveal. So there we go. Leerin's put it, just got Dracula Interquel for 20 quid on iTunes that details the final voyage of the ship that spirited the Count's coffin from Translation to London. Yeah, that does sound cool. The last voyage of the Demeter is a whole part of Dracula Curse of the Vampire, but only if you play as Dracula. There we go. Yeah, so it is really fascinating. And this is what I like about creativity. You're basically answering a series of questions, whatever you do. If it's a novel, if it's a game book, if it's a board game. So, and this, I thought I'd give this journal a go. It's Adam in Wales. He's a game designer. I was going through the player class matrix to find out what type of player you are. And then it says here, do you prefer quiet, thoughtful, strategic experiences or lively, chaotic, thematic ones? And then it says here, so then you put yourself on the grid and find out which one you are. Which class represents you? Okay, well, let's try that then. So, how much do you enjoy interaction between players in games? 0 to 2 is minimal interaction. 3 and 4 is accidental blocking. Direct confrontation is 6 to 7. Attacking, lying, betrayal is 8 to 9. So for me, it's probably an 8. Attacking, lying, and betrayal. I always think that's fun in a game. I do like player interaction, and obviously with the Crooked Crown, you sabotage players, you steal from players, you look at players' hands. So there's lots of interaction with that. Should I let the player choose the character name or keep the name I come up with for him? What's a 5? That is a very good point, Sally. 5 he's left blank because that's the middle one. So you can't get onto the score, onto the grid. Yeah. So Sally, should I keep the player? Let's just answer Martha. That is a very good question. It's up to you. Some game books I have read where they give you a name. Others don't. So Fighting Fantasy don't really give you a name. Jonathan's ones tend to put you in their shoes. So Alice in Wonderland, I think you play as Alice, don't you? So you are Alice. I've not done that. I like the fact that they can sort of imagine themselves as whatever name they want. Funny enough, actually, yeah, in my chart at the back of the book, you know, the adventurer's log or whatever you want to call it, the adventure sheet, I've not left a space for name. That's kind of interesting. I didn't even really consider that. Lone Wolf, yeah, oh, there you go. Lone Wolf is a named character, but your gender is never specified. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not going to specify the gender as well, because obviously you want males and females to play. Hopefully Grocklesnook will make a cameo as a card in Crooked Crown. Wow. Yes. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Although I think maybe we should just come up with... I do want to do some books with Grocklesnook, but I need to talk to Julian, because Julian and I, we co-created the Bottled Imp. Rich drew Grocklesnook. Rich made Grocklesnook. He's real. He is real. So there's other people involved. I can't just go ahead and use him. I have had some men ask why they would want to play as a female character in some of the Ace game books. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I did read some research that may shed a bit of light on that, because apparently when boys read and girls read, there's slightly different things going on. Apparently when girls read, and this is research by, I can't remember who it's by, a psychologist, it's legitimate research, it's on my website. Or it was by Scholastic. But anyway, when girls read, they want to inhabit that world. They want to, you know, be friends with the main character. Whereas when boys read, they want to be the main character. Yeah? So obviously, when you watch James Bond or read James Bond, you picture you as James Bond if you're a bloke. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions. Not everyone will do that. Not all the blokes will do that. Whereas, if a female, say, read James Bond, she doesn't necessarily want to be James Bond. She wants to be friends with James Bond, or even a lover. Now, or, for example, if she reads Heidi, she would want to be friends with Heidi, not necessarily be Heidi. Does that make sense? Now, that's research. That's not just me saying that. I have read that. I've cited it properly. I can't remember who it was now, but it's on my website if you want to check that out. Because I stumbled across some research that said boys still struggle to read, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? After all this years? Because I remember that was a thing when I was a kid, that, oh, why don't boys read as much as girls? It just is. It's just the way it goes. So I started looking into all of that. So it is on my website. But yeah, that is interesting. It is interesting, Jonathan, yeah. So hence why, yeah, they might say, well, why would I want to play Alice? Because they can't connect. Now, that might be because, you know, you might argue, well, then they're not open-minded enough. Maybe that's somehow how men's brains are connected, you know, wired. Not all men, you can't really do a sweeping statement. The name I came up with is Trevor Palmer. Thought that sounded a bit roguish. It could do, Martha. Yeah, it could do. It's up to you. If you feel like you want to give the rogue a name, I personally don't. I'm not going to name mine because I think the character, and again, this could be to do with male and female. I don't know, But I would want to be that character, and I would then want to come up with my own name. But, you know, I'm a creative person, so maybe other people don't. Here's an idea, though, Martha. Here's an idea. Why don't you have a name page where you have a series of names, like first names, and a series of surnames, and you number them 1 to 20, yeah? 1 to 20 first names, 1 to 20 surnames, and then, or 1 to 6, you know, however, whatever dice system you're going to use, and then you roll to see which name you get. So, you know, roll a 3, and it's, you know, and it's, I can't even think of a name now, Edric. Okay, it's Edric, and then you roll again, Longbottom, Edric Longbottom. Okay, that's my name. That could be a good way of determining a name, because you're still giving the reader choice. Or you could just say, here's some suggestions you can pick. Thinking of using a 2D12 system that's nice and easy. Yeah, okay, so you could have 12 names, and yeah, I'm using a D12 system. You could have 12 names, first names, 12 surnames, and you could roll 1 for the first name, 1 for the surname, and then, you know, and of course people will just go, I don't like that, and they might even just pick a name there. So that might be a good idea if you wanted to do that, because you're not fixing that name. Because my only problem is, if you give that person a name, they might not like it. Somebody might go, oh, that's not a very interesting name, or that doesn't sound very roguish, or do you see what I mean? But that, again, that's just my advice. You know, do what you want. Do what you want. So Sally said for the... so Sally is a 3. Sally's accidental blocking. How much do you enjoy interacting between players in games? Okay, so... okay, chart A, 0 on the horizon. Okay, so Sally is in the druid section of that. I'm going to be on the 8. I'm going to be on the... so Sally at the moment is in the druid and rogue section. I'm on the fighter and bard section. So the second question then is, do you prefer quiet, thoughtful, strategic experience, or lively, chaotic, thematic ones? 0 to 2 is very strong theme, exciting, action-packed. 3 and 4 is strong theme, narrative. 6 to 7, low luck, thoughtful, loose. 8, 9 and 10 is abstract, strategic, puzzling. Yeah, happy with that, rogue or druid. Okay, so now we're going to find out exactly what you are. Martha's put, I have names of the enemies and supporting characters, so they are names list. Yeah, oh, absolutely. If you, yeah, so your other characters that the main player is going to encounter, yeah, they obviously need names, so that's good. So Sally is a 6, low luck, thoughtful, loose. Yeah, I was going to say about a 6 or a 7. Although I quite like any of these games, but if I was going to pick one, yeah, low luck, thoughtful, loose. That's probably it. So I said an 8 and a 6. Oh, okay. So I'm a fighter, and you put 6. You are a druid. So Sally's a druid. I'm a fighter. But what does that actually mean? Oh, there's loads. There's loads. I don't think he's actually... Oh, then it says... Okay, I didn't realise there was going to be more of these charts. Okay. There's lots of questions. Does it actually tell you what they are, though? Druid, fighter, bard... It must do. The hook generator. See, that's quite good. The hook generator. How do you come up with ideas for the hook? Game publishers, retailers, and most importantly players look for hooks when deciding which games deserve their attention. A hook is a brief statement about the game or a game idea which draws people in, piques their interest, and motivates them to stick around to learn more. It's often said that if you cannot describe your concept for a project in under 30 seconds, it's too complex or obscure. And I would say that with books as well, and game books. Can I do one? Well, Martha, we're sort of running out of time. And what I didn't realise, I thought it was just like one chart that would determine, but actually there's several charts. So sorry about that. If you do want to, go to Adam in Wales, and he talks, not as in don't drive to Wales to find Adam. Go to Adam in Wales on YouTube, and he talks about game design. And it says he has got a whole video on the Druid, Fighter, Rogue and Bard, and what it means, what type of player you are. Games, and so it says here, yeah, so under 30 seconds to put across your concept. So, for example, Jonathan's very clever with your game books, aren't you, Jonathan? Because they're known IP, so people will instantly kind of know what they are. Jonathan just has to say, okay, so for example, Dracula. Yeah, it's a game book about Dracula. Now, the hook for Dracula, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can play 3 of the characters that are pursuing Dracula, and you can also play as Dracula. That's the hook, and that took less than 30 seconds. We can do a live stream for this. Oh yeah, that'd be quite good. Maybe we could do a live stream. Just realised, being a forest wandering warrior with magical affinity for nature, Lone Wolf would be, by D&D standards, a druid class hero, wouldn't he? Yeah, probably. Yeah, he obviously fights as well, or a ranger. Yeah. He's very good with hunting and tracking and that kind of thing. So when creating a hook for your game, there's no subject for your own creativity and inspiration, but the tool. So there's a tool here that aims to give you a starting point. It considers 5 aspects of tabletop game: style, setting, senses, system, and surprise. Correct. Yes. Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah. Also, I'd say the hook for Alice in Wonderland is you've subverted it, so it's even a bit more of a dystopian world in Alice in Wonderland. Again, is that correct? To generate a new game idea. Okay, so look here. So he's kind of got this like tool that helps you create a hook. And look at that. So I'm really interested to kind of get cracking into this. Just to see how well it kind of helps me come up with some games. So there you go. I'm very excited about that. Because, I've got loads of spare time. So, a couple of games I have been working on, actually, is... Now, I've been mentioning this over the last couple of weeks, and so you might be bored of it by now, but you might not be. Dylan very brilliantly came up with a new name for my bee game, my honey and bee game, called Misbehave, but he didn't spell it with the B, so I put the B in, so Misbehave, which I think is a brilliant title for the game, because I have made some changes. The old version was that you had to give away the B cards because you wanted to have the fewest points, but thematically I couldn't get it to work. It just didn't work. However, I've revamped the rules thanks to Sally as well. Sally, she sort of said, yeah, but thematically, why would a flower been trying to pass off the bees? The flower would want to try, and I thought, oh yeah. And the reason why it had that mechanic was it didn't start off as a bee game. It started off as a pox. It was called Pox, and you were witches giving curses to other players, to other witches. So you hand out the cards, you don't want them. But then it was like, well, and the game was so simple, it was like, well, this has got to be for 5-year-olds. And then it's like, okay, well, is that a great theme for 5-year-olds? Yay, Pox! I'm going to curse you. I'm sure parents would love that. So I changed it to bees. And therefore the theme didn't work. So there you go. So, when you design a game, it's all up for grabs. It all can change. So I had to completely rewrite the rules. And I had to do completely new artwork for the cards. Having victims breaking into hives. Yeah, exactly. So this game now, though, is about the person who has the most points at the end of the game. Yeah, I haven't got my bell. Ding! And so what you do is, there is a hive card. There are flower cards. Different flower cards. Now, they all mean the same. They're worth 5 points at the end of the game. And there are a series of bee cards. There's no directions on them, though, so you don't have to hand them out in a certain direction. There's also rain cards. Okay, there's rain cards. Now, what you do in the game is everybody starts off with one flower. Okay? And on your turn, there's a stack of the cards, the nature deck, that has bee, flower, and rain cards in. And they're random. So you take the top card, and if it's a bee, you put it around your flower. You just put it around your flower. Now you need to complete your flower to score the points. And there are different, there are different colours with different points. You need to set collect. So you need to have 6 of the different colours around your flower. And once you complete that, you score. You keep those cards to the end of the game. However, so at the moment I've got blue, orange and yellow. So that's fine, that's legal. Now as you can tell, there are different points on the bee. So you can upgrade your score as you are building your flower. Yeah. So for example, there you go. If I pulled out a 3, I keep that, and then it's someone else's go. So it's difficult to show you actually. But then on my next go, so say I had, let me just make it easier on myself. So say the first go I had my flower, the first go I pulled out a 3 yellow, or a yellow 3. Then on my next go, I pulled out a yellow 4. Now I can't put it next to it because it's 2 yellows. You're only meant to have 1 of each colour. But what I can do is upgrade it. So I simply replace the 3 with the 4, so I get a better score. However, what I do is that bee needs to find another flower. So I can give it to another player. Now, if there's another player with a higher number, so say they were on 6, because it's 1 to 6, I can give it to the player with the 6 yellow, and they give them the 3, lowering their score. Now that 6 then gets passed on to another player, somebody who either hasn't got a yellow or has a higher card. Does that make sense? If that second bee or any bees in that chain can't find a flower, they go into the hive. Okay, so bear with me. So then, if someone else on their turn, whenever a flower card is taken, any cards, any bees that happen to be in the hive, you get to take, because there's a new flower, they all come out and want all the pollen, all the fresh pollen. Then you can put them around as long as it's a legal move, as long as there's 1 of each. If there isn't, if one you can't place it around your flower, you might be able to place it on your other flower. If you can't, then you have to find another flower. Yeah. So a lot of bees are, misbehaving. Basically, they're going around, whizzing around. And again, if a bee can't be placed, it goes back into the hive and only comes out when a player pulls out another flower. If a rain card is pulled out, then you get to choose 1 flower from a competitive, misbehaving, exactly. You get to choose 1 player, you get to choose 1 player's flower where you can get rid of all their bees. So say I had 3 out, I couldn't have a yellow because that's the same colour as a yellow. I've got a blue. That's a yellow. That's a blue. There you go. There's a black one there. So say I had that and someone pulled a rain card out. They could say, yeah, I'm picking you, Ken. Get rid of all those bees. And these go into the hive. So now I have to start again. And that is the game. The game ends when all the tiles are actually depleted. And that's the game. So there you go. What do you think? I know it's difficult just hearing it being explained. Like, you know, you have to really play it. Now, I've not actually played this yet, so I don't know how it plays out. But I think it would be fun because the hook is that whilst you upgrade, you can sabotage someone else. So there's that chain effect. So each bee needs to find a flower. And so it could be that if you're playing a 6-player game, one bee card can upset every other player. So there you go. Sounds like a fun game. Wish I could play it. Well, I will hopefully put it on Tabletop Simulator, so maybe you could, Martha. So there you go. Yeah, and so the scoring is each flower you get 5. Each completed flower you get 5 points. Is that right? Or no, you keep the flower out there. So you just score points. You just score the points on the completed bees that you managed to have. So there you go. Or maybe I could also, I don't know about the manufacturing costs. Maybe everyone could have their own hive. No, you just keep them there. You don't need your own hive. I was going to say, thematically, it's quite cool to have each player has their own hive. So when they score, when they've completed it, it goes into the hive. But you don't need that. I mean, that's just an extra thing. So there we are. Sounds like fun, says Martha. Yeah, I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it is. So I hopefully will be playtesting this soon. In fact, I might take it with me today because I've got some meeting up with people, with folks. So there you go. So that's that. Oh, and the other thing I will quickly just say before we run out of time. What is the time? Is it coming up for 11 o'clock? I have completely revamped, not revamped, but I've printed out again my Devilish Deaths prototype, apart from the board. I've redone the cards. Oh, they're all a bit sticky. So I've redone the witness cards. I've redone the room cards. I've redone the clues, the forensics. I've pretty much done all the cards again because after the first playtest with Sally's family, there were a few tweaks that I needed to put in. Plus, some of the cards had handwriting on it, so they might have thought, oh, that's kind of a red herring because he's only literally just thought of it now. So I have actually updated all the cards. So the next playtest of it, people won't know if it's just a last-minute change or not. So there you go. And I've redone the player cards. They're smaller, and there's not as much overwhelming information on it. So this is one of the players. This is one of these amateur sleuths that one of the players could play. Kitty Bradshaw Lawrence. She's an owner of a family hotel. Now each player has their own unique ability. Kitty, her innate deduction power is she can perform 1 extra action per turn of your choice, of her choice. So that's quite a powerful one because she gets to choose, whereas someone like Magnus Magwick, there he is, he's a university professor. Innate deduction is you perform 1 extra question witness per turn. So she can actually choose whether she looks at a clue, forensic, or moves. So she's quite powerful in that respect. Although, to be fair, I think that's quite a good mechanic to have in the game because if you're playing with that character, you should be able to do something every go. I've designed it so that everybody should be able to do something every go anyway, but that's just an extra bit of it's a bit of a catch-up mechanism as well because you've got 24 hours to solve the murder mystery, and you want, I want players to get through all of the cards basically, so they've got all the information. I mean, if they don't, they don't. That's just the way murders work out. We got Radley Ralston, who is a tailor for Frederick Halstead and Co., Savile Row, Mayfair, London. And his innate deduction powers perform one investigate clue per turn. And then I've put a little bit about their personalities, just a little bit of information. So, for example, Radley, he's upright, decent, observant, warm, kind, moral, upholds justice, collects butterflies, members of a gentleman's club, likes playing cards. Kitty, I've put here, wise beyond years, tenacious, decisive, elegant, fun to be with, sharp, enthusiastic, socialite who enjoys dancing, jazz, playing the piano and playing cards. So maybe they play cards together. Whereas Magnus, the university professor, he's dynamic, sharp, pedantic, sharing, razor-sharp wit, positive, independent, loves order, keen and active member of the debating team. So there you go. So that is my murder mystery game. And there's 6 players I've created. I've created 6 players. So I'm very happy with how things are turning out, to be honest. So the next stage of this, just like my B game, is to play test it. And as I say, I've already done one set of play testing. I do need to play test this multiple times because I need to work out whether or not the murder mystery is too complicated, too easy. The mechanics, I'm pretty sure, work. However, since playtesting it for the first time to this time, I have added prestige. So as you progress through the game, you gain prestige points on a track. And when you get to a certain amount of prestige points, that unlocks other parts of the game. And then also, because in the base game I thought, because these are one shot, once you've done it, you can't play it again because you know it. So it's not going to be much fun. So I was hoping to have three cases per base game. But obviously, then you just have expansion. So you don't need the board. You don't need to buy the board every single time. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say. Plus, I wanted you to be able to take your character into the next case, so you start on a higher prestige. So that's my thinking. Martha said, my body's screaming for rest. Well, hopefully you can rest and have a lovely restful day today. That is me. Also, yeah, what he's done is he's also, I think he's put about play testing. I think. Let's have a look. Has he? Oh, I don't know. Maybe he hasn't. Oh, no. Yeah, in the log, he's got reflective logs. Yeah, look. Perspective, playtest, feedback. So he's sort of saying with playtesting what to look out for when someone's playtesting your game. And I think that's very... I do want to improve on that. Like, what am I looking for when they're playtesting the game? It's good to have specific things you're looking out for, I think, before you just give someone a chance to playtest it. So, for example, with the murder mystery, for me, the main thing when they playtested it for the first time was, does the game work mechanically? Because I can alter the plot. If it's too complicated, not complicated enough, I can actually alter that quite easily. But if the mechanics aren't fun or they don't work, that's potentially a bigger problem. So I'm really looking forward to playtesting that and playtesting Misbehave. So yeah, we're progressing with more games. Plus, like an idiot that I am, I've had another idea for a board game. So I've been developing that. I won't tell you about it just yet, because it's really at the early stages. I'm basically, the way I design games, I've discovered, is that I have a document and game books called What I Know. And I just literally list things, what I know about that project. So I would write, what do I know? Okay, I know its theme. I know roughly what I want the players to do. I know what type of game it's going to be. So this game is going to be a worker placement game. And then I just ramble. It's like brainstorming. I just get all my ideas, everything out onto that page, what I know about the game. And then you can start shaping it. And ideas keep coming to me about how I could develop the game. So I do need, and I just write them on scraps of paper. So I do need to type them all up. That is the next stage of that game. And then I want to develop that into a prototype, get that play testing. Because, and this is a good point, Adam in Wales, my new best friend, said on one of his videos, he said it's quite good to have 3 or 4 games out there because publishers take time to get back to you. So if you've only got 1 game out, you're just kind of waiting around. You might as well be designing other games and then push them out as well. So hopefully I'll have 3 or 4 games out there that I'm waiting to hear back. And then who knows, you might get 4 yeses. And then it's like, oh, okay, right, great. I've got 4 games coming out next year or the year after. That kind of thing. We'll hopefully platinum DS2 by Thursday morning stream and move on to DS3. Wow, look at you cracking through the video games. And thank goodness Elden Ring by the same director, the Dark Souls trilogy, is apparently... comes over relaxing, easy platinum journey as opposed to the mining, farming, grid fest. These, albeit gothic games. Yeah, no, I've not played Dark Souls, so I do want to play. I think that's going to be the next game that I do a video playthrough, a live stream, a live playthrough. It's time for me to go. So thank you so much for everybody that watched. Thank you, Lerin. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. I think that's everybody that commented. I think that is. And thank you to anyone else that was watching but didn't comment. Absolutely fine. You're more than welcome. If you would like to comment, though, you do need to follow the channel. That's just the way Twitch works. It also helps with the algorithm as well. I'll try to be there to give you pointers. Yeah. So I do 3 live streams a week. I do this one Saturday morning, 10 a.m. UK time, where we talk about fantasy and projects, your projects, my projects, and we ramble on about other stuff as well. Plus Wednesday evening, 6:30 UK time, where we do a game book live stream, and we are doing League of Thieves, which is a really solid game, but really enjoying that, and that's by Osborne. It's an Osborne game book adventure. And then I do Friday evenings, although I couldn't do one last night because I was at a murder mystery. Friday evenings, 7 p.m. UK time, where we do a video game through. And this time we're doing Witcher 3. Well, I've been doing that for the last 3 months now, I think, Martha. Oh yes, and Sally. How can I forget Sally? I'm so sorry, Sally. Thank you, Sally. I think she's gone now, though. I'm not sure. Anyway, so sorry, Sally. I'm going to get that later, aren't I? So, yes. So we do the video is Witcher 3. I've been playing that for the last couple of months, and it's been very, very good. I thought you did say me. Oh, did I say you? Let's say I did say you. Yes. Double thumbs up. So there you go. So check it out if you enjoy what you are watching. Also, I put all the live streams up on the Edra Tales YouTube channel. So if you prefer to watch them there, they will be there, pretty soon after I do the live stream. I didn't notice if you did. No, I did. Sally. I definitely did. I don't know what Martha's talking about. Anyway, only teasing. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Gockle Snook. He's fallen asleep. Have a lovely week if I don't see you on Wednesday. And remember, may the magic of storytelling and creativity flow through you always. See you later. Though you did just make out to be a bit of an... What? Bit of an orgy? What? Ogre. No, a bit of an ogre. Sorry, that's my dyslexia coming in there. Sometimes dyslexia is not your friend. Though you did make me out to be a bit of an ogre. Yes, I did, and that is wrong of me. So, there we go. Sally is an angel. Ogre? Who's saying that? I'll get them. Don't you worry, Sally. All right then, take care. Bye.